A sector under the debt of about 32.9 billion Ghana cedis, and farmers who don't seem satisfied with how much they are being paid for their beans. There seems to be some hope with the new Cocoa Board bill coming into force. Well, the president is yet to assent to it, and already the minority in parliament is asking him not to do so. Hi, good evening. My name is Beatrice Edu, and tonight we want to go into this new Cocoa Board bill that replaces the 1984 one, and whether or not this bill will help deal with the myriad of issues within this sector, and whether or not the minority in parliament has any case what needs to be done to ensure that farmers win and the state wins as well. Once again, my name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Remember that Agenda is also being streamed live on Shri FM 92.7. Do send us your comment on all our social media platforms. When they do come in time, we'll read them back to you and try to get some of your questions that you ask us directly answered as well. I'm joined in the studio now by the Honorable George Ojo. He is the former Member of Parliament for New Edubiase and also former Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. I do have on my immediate left Mr. Jerome Kesam, who is the Head of Public Affairs with the Ghana Cocoa Board. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice. Thank you for having me.
And just right after him on my extreme left, I have with us as well Mr. Obed Owusu Adai, convener, Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, GCCP. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you as well for joining us.
Good evening.
I want to remind you that Agenda is brought to you by the Bank of Africa. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. We'll be telling you more about the Bank of Africa along the conversation. Once again, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I want to start with you, the Honourable former Member of Parliament. Your observations, first of all, of the bill beyond the issue I just mentioned, which is the minority, talking about a lack of consultation and the fact that this was rushed in terms of its passage and eventually asking the president not to assent to it. Aside from these issues, what are your general observations about this bill?
Okay, thank you very much. Our observations are nobody's against the bill. It's a good thing. This is a whole bill I'm holding here. It's very good. What we are saying is that the NDC and the government is making as if the MPP is against the bill. That's not the issue. But there are certain clauses that criminalize the farmers. That's what we are not happy with. What we are saying is that Ghana has been dependent on farmers for a very long time. So there are certain clauses in the bill that we are telling the president to hold on. Let's have a second look at those clauses, amend it before he append his signature to make it a law. If that is not done, when it becomes a law, most or some of the farmers will be criminalized. And there are some penalties, some clauses in there. When a farmer flouts, the farmer is going to jail for not less than 10 years, not more than 15 years.
And I know one of the main clauses you talk about is clause 81, which talks about felling of trees, which is no good. Aside from that, which other clauses do you have issues with?
About another clause is they are opening up the floodgate for the export of cocoa beans, which is solely supposed to be only CMC. There's another clause. It's telling the farmer, Cocoa Board has the only right to buy the cocoa. When you go to further, it tells you the CMC or Cocoa Board has the right to reject the farmer's beans. So, if Cocoa Board is the only agency that can buy the beans and has also the power to reject the farmer's beans.
The first right of refusal, that's how you call it.
Yes, so if the Cocoa Board refuses the farmer's beans, what does the farmer do with the cocoa beans? When he sells it aside Cocoa Board, he has flouted the law. And will go face the tribunal. And the tribunal members is going to be appointed by the president. And that means the president is going to appoint NDC members as a panelist for the tribunal.
Why would you say that?
It's in the bill. It's here.
That it is NDC members who are going to be appointed?
If the president is going to appoint the tribunal members, are you telling me he's going to appoint me?
No, but why do you conclude and assume that the members you will be selecting, aside from their qualifications, will be NDC members?
When President Mahama was voted into power as the president, when he was making the appointments, tell me, one person he appointed who is not an NDC member? Give me one.
Every government comes to appoint people.
Fine. So why are you challenging me if I say it's going to appoint?
No, but you're
NDC
talking
member?
about the judiciary.
It's not. It's a tribunal.
Yes, the tribunal falls
And
under
it
the
states
judiciary.
here, it's in there. I can open it to you. The president is to appoint the tribunal members. And I'm telling you, he's not going to appoint me. And when that is done, I'm a cocoa farmer. When that is done, maybe the next year or two, you see me in jail.
And I'll give the opportunity to Kokobo to respond to that. But as we go along with this conversation, you talk about the what I refer to, which is the clause 81. There's always been that notion that cocoa trees are for the state or the government, as it were, and you cannot just unilaterally cut it. So why are you making an issue out of it?
It has
now?
not been that. You see, what Cocoa Board is saying that they give seedlings, they give chemicals for the cocoa farmer. That is correct. But what the seedlings the Cocoa Board give to farmers are not enough. For instance, if I'm doing 5 acres of cocoa farm, Cocoa Board will never ever give me seedlings that will be enough for all the 5 acres. They'll give me for about 1 acre or 2 acres. Then the rest, the farmer will just do his or her own nursery and then do the planting. So if you are going to rely on the small seedlings you are going to give me, and you are going to rely on that to criminalize me if I tamper with my cocoa tree, that is wrong. This is where we are saying the government should take time. Let us iron out all these infractions, and then going forward, you have a look at it carefully.
Again, the other question is, and I'll come to the rest of the panel, why would the minority be raising an issue after the bill has been passed by Parliament? It went through that committee that supervised it, and the committee, and as you're aware, you've been a member of Parliament before.
Yes.
Committees have both the majority and the minority members on it. They didn't see these infractions you talk about now?
Do you know this bill was passed under the certificate of agency? And there's nothing wrong with that. When that happens, the time you need to go through the bill, you don't get it. And besides, are you aware that no bill should be laid in Parliament without gazetting for 14 days? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Was this bill gazetted for 14 days? It wasn't. So what are they talking about?
I'm not sure you've answered the direct question I asked you, that before it was passed,
Yes.
it went through the committee
Yes,
that
I've answered.
deliberated on it.
I said it was passed under the certificate of agency. And when anything done under the certificate of agency, the number of days or the time you need to go through, you don't get it. And besides, what is happening in Parliament now, if you look at the committees, they will vote. And the majority members are far outweigh the minority. So you won't get enough time. Ask any member from these committees who attended this, going through the bill. They will tell you, you know, I'm a co-chair to the Agri Committee for the MPP. And the other co-chair is the chairman of the Agri Committee in Parliament. That's what happened. They didn't give them enough time to go through the document. And they want to just push it through. What you are saying that the bill is fine, but the aspects of it, the clauses, need to be addressed to. That's what we are saying. We are not saying it's not good. No. Because you cannot tell me that I'm a farmer. If I uproot my cocoa tree, then you are telling me, you send me to tribunal and I'll go to jail for 10 years.
Yeah,
that is so bad.
Perhaps I can get a direct response from you, from Cocoa Board, because you played a huge role in presenting this new bill, as it were, to replace the 1984 one. The concerns being raised.
So, Betty, thank you very much. A good evening to my former Deputy Minister, Magrick, and also to my good friend, particularly to the people of the Republic, not forgetting cocoa farmers. Indeed, ever since the bill was passed, I've tried so hard to comprehend the arguments or opinions being espoused by the minority. And I have stated, countless number of times that, well, the expression of opinion is enshrined in the Constitution. So on the basis of that, nobody begrudges anybody for exercising that right. But the most important thing is for us to critically assess what is contained in the bill. As Honorable rightly mentioned, he seeks to create the impression that cocoa farmers now are being criminalized for certain activities, which hitherto wasn't the case. But the simple question I want to pose to Honorable is that if you have your land, and on your land you have odum, wawa, or sapele tree in there, and you want to fell or cut that tree, can you cut it on your own, or you need the permission of the Forestry Commission? I just want Honorable to answer that for me. Since it's a former member of Parliament,
yes.
If you have your land, whether you bought the land, you inherited, or it's been leased to you by government or whatever, and you have a tree, all right, a timber on it, are you enjoined by law to seek for the express permission of the Forestry Commission before cutting it or not?
You know there's an ally pertaining to that. But before you fell, you have to seek approval.
Okay.
So this bill is not there.
Hold on. Honorable, hold on. Gradually, you will get there.
No problem.
Gradually. Now, that timber tree, all right, that tree, that is there. I'm not sure it was even government that planted it. It could be by nature. But here is the case that government, through legislation, has decided to bar you from cutting something that is on your own.
But Mr. Sam, I think that the main argument of people is that cocoa farmers are managing it. They may have diseased trees and all of that. There. You're waiting for them to allow the entire farm to be infected?
No, not at all. I'm coming there. In fact, everything expressed is something so easy to be dealt with. Look, when you read the law has never stated that farmers are prohibited from engaging in any act of rehabilitation. And in fact, I'm going to read the amendment made by Parliament to you.
You mean the clause 81 we are talking about?
Yes, the clause 81. The clause 81. That is why I said that I find it quite difficult to comprehend. This is the amendment that the Parliament of Ghana did. When you read clause 81, it says, prohibited activities on protected farm. A person shall not, unless with the authorization, A, destroy.
There is no authorization there.
That is why I said.
You see, person shall not.
No, hold on.
Continue.
Hold on.
Please, let him finish and then you read the version you have.
That is why I said. That is why I said that when this bill, don't forget that this bill has gone to Parliament and there have been amendments, and there is nobody seated here who has the amended version by Parliament. There's nobody here.
Except you.
Hold on.
Come on.
Please, respectfully.
Please read what you have. You have the same thing there. So we'll allow you to read all of you what you have.
Just indulge me. It says A, destroy, uproot, damage, or fell a cocoa tree except for the purpose of rehabilitation approved by Cocoa Board. Now, when you go to the interpretation aspect of the bill, quickly flip to the interpretation aspect. It has given meaning to what rehabilitation means. So if you have averted your mind to the interpretation session in relation to rehabilitation, I'm not sure you would espouse this argument that you are making tonight. You would never say that, because for the purpose of rehabilitation, it includes the farmer. It includes the farmer cutting trees which have been diseased. That is why I said that if you are not careful in reading whatever that is contained in there, you would espouse an argument which possibly would expose you not being conversant or abreast with whatever that is contained in there. Another point that he made, and it is a bit laughable, respectfully, not to denigrate your person. Laughable because when it went to Parliament, there is that clause 59E I'm being specific. Clause 59E, which sought to alter the functions or powers of what? CMC. It was completely what? Deleted. In Parliament. And that is the house of what? Making laws. As stated in what? Article 93. So it is not the responsibility, or it is not Cocoa Board to say that if we have even drafted a law, Parliament is what? Is bad from. That is why I go to Parliament. They made amendments, they made deletions, they made what? Insertions. So if you are not privy to all this information, you possibly will be arguing using that particular document that you find.
Mr. Sam, are you referring to the licensing of external marketing activities
yes,
for the Ghanaians?
It has been deleted. It's been deleted. I was in Parliament when the argument was going on, the debate was going on, and that part was what? Was deleted. So you will not find it in the final version of the bill. So respectfully, Honorable, you need to amend your notes and come again. What other issue? The other issues that you raise, all right, which you've been raising is, oh, there wasn't broader consultation. Indeed, it started with there was no consultation. And then later you redefined your consultation and then you qualified it by saying that there was no broader consultation. When you have been what? Confronted with the various what? Facts. And I'm stating here that if anybody's possessed that there were not any form of what? Consultation, then the person is not, or the person is being economical with what? With the truth and the fact. Let me tell you why. When this whole bill started, and I'm not even going to the archives, talking about when we came, we met the, I mean, you having in mind contemplation of the having, not even the amendment, because the previous administration contemplated having entirely new law to regulate the activities of what? Of Cocoa Board. Reasons being that we have scattered laws governing what? The sector. Apart from the parents' law, that is PNDC law 81. We have other scattered laws, which makes it quite difficult to even knowing the particular law to come under to enforce any issues that comes out. But it was aborted. Let me not even go in there. Last year, you all saw the chief executive of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, meeting with cocoa farmers at the various cocoa growing regions.
I want you to land on your thought for me, and if you would kindly read the contested clause that we're talking about.
Yeah, the 81.
Because you seem to suggest that what you have is different from, I don't know whether it's different from yours as well as
it's
Honorable. Okay, so
they are having
that.
Yeah, so they are having the one that we what?
It was sent to Parliament.
Yes, it was sent to Parliament.
So because at the end of the day, what you're looking at is transparency, and to ensure that whatever is being discussed, Honorable, I'll come to you.
No, Honorable, don't have an issue because this you've been in Parliament before.
Please, what I'm trying to say is that you seem to suggest that you're the only one who has the copy that the people here don't have. And I'm saying that why does it have to be the case when at the end of the day people need to have transparency and need to be able to interrogate what is going to guard our cocoa sector?
Beatrice, in fact, we even have been chasing Parliament. The only advantage that I had was that I was in Parliament that day when the debate was going on. I was in Parliament. So whatever being the position of the minority, whatever that they said, we got the opportunity to do what? To listen and to make what note. I am not here saying that I have the final version because Parliament has not even brought the final version.
So read again,
yes,
which you haven't done yet, the contested clause, which is clause 81, about punishing farmers for cutting the trees that they may have issues with, just to prevent their farms from being taken over by diseases.
Okay, so this is what it reads. It reads like, so I said prohibited activities on protected what? Farms. So a person shall not, all right, then amendment read for you to insert that except for the authorization, destroy, uproot, damage or fell a cocoa tree except for the purpose of what? Rehabilitation approved by what? The Cocoa Board. And I went further to state that rehabilitation has been given meaning in the interpretation aspect of it. So when you avert your mind, and if Honorable can indulge us, you flip to the interpretation aspect and you read. You read the interpretation aspect, what rehabilitation means.
I still want to go to the basic question, Mrs. Sam. I want to go to the basic question that I'm a cocoa farmer. I've seen my trees are diseased. I want to fail them. Why do I have to go through a process? For instance, can't I just call, say, an agric extension officer that, oh, this is the problem, especially I'm not sure. Why do we have to have a process?
No, but you see, we don't even call them agric extension officers. We are talking about CEs. So let me just read the interpretation aspect for you. So rehabilitation means processes undertaken to restore or renew cocoa farms or plantations, including removal of old trees and stumps, land preparation, application of approved treatment, and replanting in accordance with standards prescribed by what? Regulations. So, Honorable, if you are conversant with this, I'm not sure you will stick to that
I think
position.
he will have the opportunity to respond to that. I need to go to him to give us his preliminary thought.
Let me just respond directly to the question, because I took I sought for permission to read. You are saying that why should it be the case whereby if a farmer wants to cut down the tree, the farmer needs what? The permission or authorization from what? From Cocoa Board. That aspect is also different. That is when you read the 84, clause 84, if it is not changed, when you read the clause 84. And the interment is that, look, apart from the acquisition of land, and apart from the labor cost borne by the farmers, almost every other cost, it is either Cocoa Board is sharing in the cost or Cocoa Board completely has taken over that cost.
And farmers, and I'll have to because I think you've spoken. I asked you the question
Because
earlier.
so it is only fair for me.
Yes, the concern. Well, everybody has to have equal time. The concern is that you're not being fair to the farmers, and you're ending up incriminating them when they have a challenge with your tree. And I'll come back to you because I asked you that question earlier. I want to get your thought.
Truncating me from.
No, but I asked you the question earlier, and you've been trying to explain. I will have to come back to you on that.
Sure.
I want to get your preliminary thoughts, sir.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. It's actually interesting listening to Jerome and Honorable. So two things. Before I even get to give my comments, I need to say this. The bill or the law as it is now is a very good law. We will not contest it. We think there are very good elements in the bill that will be very, very good for the cocoa farmer, that will inure to the benefit of the sector. We are not contesting the good intentions of the bill and some provisions in the bill. What we are saying is that good intentions alone do not make good laws. There are very good intentions, but good intentions alone do not make good laws. Laws needs to be situated within the social-cultural, social-traditional context of the country.
You think this is out of context?
Yes.
And how do you mean?
Unfortunately, when you read the 81 that we are discussing, you realize that, and that goes back to the point that you asked about consultation. I think if this particular clause had gone through extensive consultation with farmers and farmer leaders, it might not have come out the way it did. And so that is the first point. Having said that, we as civil society and farmer representatives think that there is a lot of room for discussions, for negotiations. We are not politicians.
Just on the clause 81 alone?
81 and 110, which is about the offences part. If you read the 81 alongside the 110, it's damning.
I saw up to 20 years imprisonment.
Exactly.
Yes.
Between 10 to 15, not less than 15 years in prison for doing horticultural activities on your own land. And that is what Honorable was mentioning. And
You said 110.
So 110 is about offences, the 110.
So
I mean, the
you're
version
talking-
that we have.
One thing you are talking about the
Please, he has his floor. You can note down your
so
points
that
and I'll
is-
come to you.
That is
shortly.
one of the issues. I mean, last week we were at Cocoa Board, and that was the point that Randy made, Dr. Randy Abi made, that the version that we have is different from the version that they have.
So you agree with what he's saying, that
Yes,
perhaps
I
a number
do.
of people don't have the version that he's talking
Exactly.
about?
And that also speaks to the issue of transparency. The fact that a bill goes to Parliament. There's a memorandum written on the bill. We get that version, and now there are changes to the bill, and we don't have access to those changes.
I mean, you would expect that both NPP and NDC would do politics with it, because again, you talk about you not being politician and the rest being politicians. But again, you talk about and no consultations, as it were. That's the point the NPP in Parliament is making. Are you claiming that from your organization, you have spoken to a number of farmers or farmer groups who actually confirm the point you're making, that indeed they were not consulted before this came out?
Well, I mean, you will need to go back probably 2 years to understand the whole context. This bill or law did not start with the current administration. It started with Honorable Boahenedu, who contracted a consulting firm to go around the country to solicit ideas to amend. At that time, they were amending certain portions of the law. And we know Shawbell Consulting were given the consultancy to do that work. And it's actually interesting. Like I keep saying, we were at Cocoa House, and Honorable Arand Abdi kept saying that we went around the country to meet farmers. Jerome, going around the country to meet farmers is not the same as presenting the bill to farmers to interrogate. Those are two different things. What we are saying is that we requested, I remember we wrote to request for the bill, and we were told that when it gets to Parliament, we will have an opportunity to make inputs into the bill. It gets to Parliament and it is submitted under certificate of urgency, and we lose that opportunity to make inputs into the bill, and it is passed as it was submitted. So the point we are making is that, first, the law is good. There are a lot of good intentions in it, but there are some issues in it that are very controversial, that seeks to prevent the farmer from enjoying their property rights. And I see Jerome nodding the head, but we can go
in disagreement with
no, I understand, and
not in agreement.
No, I hear you, but we can go into the 81 and interrogate it.
Yeah.
What the 81 seeks to do, and I have written on this, it's been published, is that if you are a farmer, you go to your traditional authority, you get your land to make a farm. What the law is seeking to tell you right now is that you cannot convert a cocoa farm into other horticultural purpose, either for oil palm, for what other crop, without authorization from, and that is why it's even tricky. They say authorization from who?
But is that not to protect really our foreign exchange, as it were? Because we've had stories of farmers, because of the challenges, who have decided to do other things rather than stick to cocoa, even to Galamsey, giving their lands for that.
One thing that the Constitution of Ghana protects is property rights and your right to use your own property. So if I have gone for the land under the Lands Act and I have done my cocoa, and you are telling me that by this law you are preventing me from converting my own land, my own cocoa, to other land use, that is fundamentally against the intent of the Constitution.
And when we come back, we'll look more into that and really moving forward what we need to do, because we've seen bills that were in Parliament withdrawn and later brought back after corrections were made. Can we do same? Stay with us.
From across Africa, they come with dreams. At Academic City, they find purpose.
Studying biomedical engineering has opened my mind to a world of innovation. As a parent, seeing my daughter thrive at ACT gives me peace of mind.
ACT didn't just teach me skills, it gave me the confidence to lead change.
A world-class faculty, hands-on learning, a campus that inspires bold thinking. Join a community building Africa's future today. Academic City University, educating future-ready leaders.
When the girl you likes you back. All you need is something red, sweet, tasty, smooth. That is XYZ red wine flavored alcoholic drink. XYZ red wine flavored alcoholic drink. Serve chilled. Drink smoothly. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
So fresh, good taste. So fresh, good taste. Taste it, feel it, give me, darling lemon. My darling, I want it, I need it. So fresh, good taste, just the way you want it. Taste it, feel it, give me, darling lemon. My darling, I want it, I need it. So fresh, good taste, just the way you want it.
Will you be my darling?
Yes.
Drink responsibly. This advert is FDA approved.
Darling lemon drink. Taste it. Feel it.
And you're still here on Agenda on TV3. My name is Beatrice Edu. Tonight we're looking at the new Cocoa Board Bill and whether or not it addresses the challenges within the cocoa sector, what farmers are facing, as well as some of the financial issues that the sector has been plagued with over the last years. And I do have in the studio with me the Honourable George Ojo, who is former Member of Parliament for New Edubiase and also former Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture. We also do have with us as well Mr. Jerome K. Sam, Head of Public Affairs Cocoa Board, as well as Mr. Obedousu Adai, Convener, Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform. I want to remind you that Agenda is brought to you by the Bank of Africa. Now, from now until the end of October 2026, the Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans at a very slim rate to salaried workers. We understand that you have urgent needs to sort out. That's why we give you that quick turnaround time. Whether it is school fees, prospectus, car maintenance, or that much-deserved family vacation, Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. So you can visit the nearest branch or chat Fafa at www.boaghana.com to sign up. You may also WhatsApp 0244 338 226 for inquiries. Terms and conditions apply. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And I want to come back to you, the Honourable George Ojo, because the concern here is that some of the issues that have been raised really are not, you know, in this bill as it were, and we should be looking at the generality of the bill and what it offers rather than some of these things.
You see, with reference to the 81 he is talking about, that is purpose for rehabilitation. The farmer can remove the tree for rehabilitation upon approval from the Cocoa Board, right? We are all in this country, and you know the bureaucratic nature of our both civil and public servants. If I want to remove a tree, I have to seek approval from Cocoa Board. I have to write to the chief executive for approval. Let me tell you, if this bill has been in existence for the past 3 months, you know the past 2-3 months, the chief executive was in America watching football. So if this bill has been in existence and I want to uproot my cocoa tree and I've written to Cocoa Board. You know how long it takes before I'll get a reply?
But is he the only
And
one
the-
at Cocoa Board?
I've been a deputy
to
minister
make
before,
changes?
and I can confirm to you, not every document the deputy can attend to. I've been a deputy before. There are some documents the deputy is not allowed to sign, except your boss. Now, let me give you an example. Cocoa farm diseases are like we human beings. For instance, somebody who have a cancer, they say they have to do surgery. Other than that, it will spread. Same as cocoa tree, which is experiencing swollen shoot. Within 2 3 or 1 month, it will affect the other trees. So if I write to Cocoa Board before, and it's going to take me 1 2 3 4 months before the chief executive replies me. By the time the reply comes, it has affected the whole farm. So what we are saying is that the farmer should be given the opportunity to even approve the affected trees. And you are still insisting you have to seek approval from the chief executive. Is that right? Are you helping me or you are killing me? I have my farm, it has been affected. Before I'll tamper with it, I have to seek approval from the chief executive of Cocoa Board. Meanwhile, we have cocoa districts, I think about 110 or so districts, which the officers are there. Why can't the farmer, and you know what? Some of the cocoa farms, where they are located, there are so many of them, car cannot even go there. Tractor cannot even go there. So if a farmer is in Genasi, this farmer has to write a letter, send it to Uri, then send it to Neo Dubiasi before the letter comes to Accra to Cocoa Board. The farmers are not being treated fairly. And look at what I was telling you. Listen, the tribunal. The president shall appoint the chairperson and other members of the tribunal. And a person who contravenes Section 1 commits an offense and is liable. When you are talking, I tried to tell you something and you said it's laughable. Please keep quiet and listen to me. Okay?
Sure, no problem.
Conviction of a fine of not less than 200,000 penalty units and not more than 300,000 penalty units, or a term of imprisonment not less than 10 years and not more than 15 years. My sister, I don't know where you come from. If you go to some villages and you see a cocoa farmer and you are telling me that cocoa farmer should go to prison for 10 years for uprooting a cocoa tree, you will cry.
I want to still get to the bit about you claiming that the president is going to select.
Not me claiming. It's here.
partisan. Yes, he's going to, but it doesn't say that
Section
he would.
100, Section 101, Section
Honorable,
3.
it doesn't
It's here.
say. It doesn't say that the president is to appoint partisan people. It doesn't say that. And I've read the tribunal's bill as well. There are certain portions that you even have the districts and the communities involved. So how do you make such a claim?
Listen, this is the bill. Composition of the tribunal. Composition of the tribunal. The tribunal consists of a chairperson who is a retired justice of a Supreme Court of Judicature or a lawyer not less than 10 years standing.
Of a superior court.
B, 2 other persons with relevant knowledge and experience in cocoa sector regulation, agriculture, agribusiness, commodity, trading, finance, economic quality control, lands and dispute resolution. 2, the president shall appoint the chairperson and other members of the tribunal. And I'm telling you, give me one person President Mahama has appointed who is not an NDC member.
Well, I would take that as your opinion because
No,
it
my opinion.
doesn't
Give me
state that
an
the
answer to
president
that.
is appointing NDC people, especially with
I'm
what you've
saying
read.
is that
And
give
I'm
me
saying
one
that
person President Mahama has appointed.
I have equally read the tribunal's bill, and I
good.
told you what I
so
found
the
in there
president
as
shall
well.
appoint the chair.
But I want
even
to,
this thing must be deleted from there.
I want to come back to you.
the
Really,
president should be the person
on-
to appoint the tribunal members
on some,
and the chairperson.
I want us to move forward with that. If you look at this 2026 bill as well, it talks about putting, for instance, Cocoa Board under the Ministry of Finance. I started by saying that the Cocoa Board is already facing financial challenges. At the moment, as we speak, there's an inherited debt of about 32.9 billion Ghana cedis, plus other challenges it has as well. Looking at how the framers of this bill put it, how do you foresee this dealing with the financial challenges that we've had within this sector?
Well, thank you, Beatrice. It's actually interesting that Cocoa Board has never had a permanent position in government. Sometimes it goes to Ministry of Trade, it goes to Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and now it finds itself in finance. We don't really mind where it sits. What we really...
Well, the Finance Ministry, let me perhaps rephrase it, has oversight responsibility, as it were. Yes.
Yes. And now, fine. So now it's Ministry of Finance, and probably because of the financial implications of Cocoa Board, the fact that Cocoa Board or the cocoa sector brings in a lot of resources to the state. So we don't mind. But I think the fundamental thing that we need to avert our minds to is how does being at finance, being at food and agriculture, or being at trade, how does that influence or affect the life of the ordinary cocoa farmer? I think one thing we need to be mindful of is that cocoa is not like timber. Cocoa is not like gold. Cocoa is grown by a farmer. Somebody goes to take a land and they spend between 3 to 4 years working on the farm for it to reach maturity. So their interest should be paramount. And I do understand that the question you asked, due to the financial challenges of Cocoa Board over the years, we have found it expedient to put it at Ministry of Finance. I think the current minister is doing a very good work at that. And for us at civil society, we're very, very impressed with some of the interim measures that were put in place when there was crisis, and they had that emergency cabinet meeting that came up with those reforms. I think those reforms sought to really put the cocoa sector at a level that we welcomed it. And so yes, we don't mind it being at Ministry of Finance, but what we are careful about is how does that translate into affecting and influencing the life of the ordinary cocoa farmer? And I think that is where the conversation should be focused on. You look at the debt situation of Cocoa Board and the financing mechanisms, and I'm actually particularly impressed with Section 57 or Clause 57 of the new law, which seeks to consolidate the 70% FOB.
Yes.
For farmers. And it has always been a practice that the PPRC, the Producer Price Review Committee, used to use. But now we have a law that is giving it that legitimacy that tomorrow, the cocoa season starts in September. If by September we don't see this being practicalized, we can then go to court to challenge it. In times past, we could not hold on to any law to challenge the government if they are unable to give farmers the 70% FOB. So all these things are good and they are progressive, and we welcome some of these financial decisions that are being made, probably because now Cocoa Board is under the Ministry of Finance, so these things are carefully being catered for. And so we are looking forward to the new season and see how this will be practicalized. But that do not take away from some of the fundamental human right abuses and the property right issues that we are talking about. And we are hoping that all those things could be resolved before the president assents the bill. Because we know that if these things are not resolved and the president signs it, it could generate a lot of challenges going into the future. Even though the financial outlook might be good, the socio-cultural, socio-traditional issues will still be outstanding, and we don't want a law that could be challenged in courts in the coming months or years. And so those are some of our challenges right now.
Philip on YouTube says, and I'll come to you very shortly, Mr. Sam, the fact that the cocoa farm is your farm doesn't mean you can do just about anything with it. Besides, the bill doesn't say you can't convert it into something else. It just says you must inform. And then he says, just like my personal car that the regulator says I can't use for commercial purposes, and I am okay with that, the farmer must also be okay with the bill, unless we want to run a banana republic. And I'll just read this message as well, coming in from one of our viewers on Facebook, and this is coming from, just want to get your name correctly. Okay, I would just find that and then read that to you. Samuel Dove says, or is it Dove says, but there's nothing that says he will appoint from his party. So that's just referring to what the Honourable former Minister said, please.
So, Beatrice, thank you very much. I'll be very grateful if I'm afforded enough time to explain some of the issues raised by Honorable as well as my good brother here. The first thing I want to deal with is this property right thing. The Constitution has stated clearly, all right, under Article 18 of our Constitution in relation to what the right of owning what a property, which does include what land. There is no provision in this bill that seeks to convert ownership of land or even cocoa farms to the state or cocoa board. There is no such what, no such provision. In fact, I have given you plethora of what instances whereby you need to resort to either the minister or any other authority before you can carry on with something that you think possibly it is your bona fide. So the argument shouldn't be that because there is a provision which seeks to protect and ensure the sustainability of what of the sector, people are misinforming and misinterpreting that particular what provision. That is not the case. Let me deal squarely with this misinformation surrounding the issue of prohibiting cocoa farmers from even converting or repurposing their what? Their cocoa farms. I was trying to explain earlier that apart from the land acquisition and then the cost borne by the farmers when it comes to the labor aspect, every other thing, now we have provision of free fertilizer, provision of free fertilizer, provision of what? Free agrochemicals. We also have a provision of what? Free seedlings. We again, by this law, going to undertake the free scholarship scheme.
For the sake of time, I'll be happy if you are able to address the issue directly.
Yes, I'm addressing the issue. I'm addressing the issue. So if Cocoa Board is making all this investment in your cocoa farm, it is not the case that we are not interested in your farm. We are. On top of it, we have registered all cocoa farms and cocoa farmers and have their database captured under CMS, that is Cocoa Management System. And based on this data, we make projections as to even the tonnage we are going to get in a particular cocoa season. And based on this data, we make plans, the purchase of agrochemicals that we are going to make. So if, for instance, Honorable please, what's your constituency? I just want to cite
Near Dubiase formally.
So if, for instance, New Edibiase, in our database, we have about 50,000 hectares of what? Cocoa farm registered. Anticipating it can give us some 2,000 tons for the year. Unknown to us, and the investment we have made, we send researchers there to undertake pot counts for us to predict as to the tonnage you are going to get. We get there and we are faced with the reality that your 50,000 hectares that you have registered is left with only what? Only 5,000. Meanwhile, based on that data or based on that information, you've made what? You've made your plans. So you've completely thrown Cocoa Board out of gear. So what we are saying is that we are not under any provision telling you that you cannot repurpose your what? Your land or whatever. But make Cocoa Board aware that, okay, for one reason or the other, I am not interested in what? In the farm. Who knows? Maybe a difficulty that the person is unable to surmount, hence needing additional what? Help. Cocoa Board possibly could be able to do what? To offer you that help. That would ensure the continuity of what?
Did you have
of your farm?
Did you have wide consultations? Please, did you have?
I'm not sure you are sitting as a judge.
Just a second. Just a second. I'll come to you.
What does the law say?
No, the law said authorization.
I will come to you.
So when you are saying
I will come to you. I'll come to you, sir. Sir, please, we don't have all the time. What I'm asking is, did you? I'm asking you, did you have enough consultations with the farmers? Because that's what the generality of the argument is, that perhaps if there had been enough consultation with farmers, some of these things could have even been worded differently.
Exactly.
Look, we have enough consultation. That is why most of the provisions that we have in there came from what? Came from the farmers. For instance, how this...
so they agreed to, they going through the process before they fell their trees, they agreed to that?
And I am telling you here on authority that if you are promulgating any law, there could be what? Expression of opinion. That somebody thinks like, okay, left to me alone, you should not even include that provision what? At all, irrespective of whether it's going to be of help or what, or not. So the fact that it is in, and a farmer or some farmers have expressed dissatisfaction or their rejection, whatever, in relation to that particular provision, does not invalidate or reflect the generality of what? Opinions or views of what? Of the cocoa farmer.
There's a question for you.
So the important thing we need to stress here is that what does this particular provision seeks to do what? Seeks to achieve. And I've told you that apart from the investment that we have made, we are also looking at a situation whereby we would ensure continuity and sustainability of what? Of cocoa farming.
There's a question for you briefly, and I'll have to come for your final words because we've run out of time. Bruce Wolanyo says, please ask him how this new cocoa bill benefits the LBCs in terms of financing, especially PBC Limited.
Okay, so under this new bill, unlike the present financing model, where the off-taker or the buyer who sends a fraction of it, maybe 60% or 80%, and upon sending the money, Cocoa Board is being directed as to the specific license buying company that the money should be given to. So if unfortunate for you, a license buying company, you do not have an off-taker who is willing to do what? To give you money, then you are stranded. But because Cocoa Board is raising finance domestically, we will be able to set aside part of the money and advance to the license buying companies for the purchase and payment of what? Of the cocoa beans. So by this means, all the license buying companies, and the intent behind this is to strengthen the local license buying companies as against the foreign ones that are having that financial muscles.
Paul Ajay on Facebook
So it
says,
is going to help them.
and please, your time is up. Paul Ajay says that as the PRO, if he has a cocoa farm, and there's also a message coming in. I'll read that very briefly. Coming from Humadosi Topa, says, good evening, Beatrice, and greetings to your panelists. Why are we trying so hard to criminalize the cocoa bill when its benefits outweigh its flaws? The bill has several important benefits, including farmers being guaranteed at least 70% of the gross FOB world market price realized by Cocoa Board, automatic price adjustment, etc. Thank you very much for your message. No, please, your time is up, please.
Well, what we are saying is that the bill is...
And then I will take about 30 seconds from you. We've really run out of time.
But there are certain clauses that need to be looked at again. My brother is talking as if Cocoa Board provide everything
for the farmer.
Like the tester said, as he bought the cocoa farm. I have a cocoa farm. Cocoa Board gives incentives, chemicals, fertilizer, but he is saying Cocoa Board gives everything to the farmer, so that means the property of the farmer becomes the cocoa because he's been given fertilizer. No farmer in this country, no cocoa farmer in this country has ever gotten, let's say, fertilizer to cater for his farm fully. Never. If you need about 100 bags of fertilizer, if it's granular or if it's liquid, you see, let's say you need about 50 liters. The maximum you get about, let's say, 10 or 15 liters. Then the rest, some of them will buy, some of them will not buy anything. They'll just apply what they receive from Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board will give you ceilings, will not be enough for you. They are doing their best, but not as what he is saying. As if they give everything to the cocoa farmer.
How do you see this bill dealing with the financial challenges that we talk about? Because again, there's also policies that would ensure that Cocoa Board doesn't even borrow beyond the approved budgets among others.
What the financial sector, what I'm always on the side of the farmers. Even the 70% they are saying, you know, the 70% is FOB. Is it the FOB gross and the FOB on the world market, or gross. The 70% of the gross? Or the gross when it gets to Cocoa Board is higher than the FOB. So they should come clear. Is it the
And I'll give you 30 seconds, sir, to... Kwesi Reynolds says, is cocoa farms now being owned by the government? Why must a cocoa farmer who is disinterested in his own farm consult Cocoa Board before repurposing their farm? That's Kwesi Reynolds in Agona or Dobing. But Aziz Dollar says the cocoa sector bill is perfect one and it will help our farmers. And I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you the 30 seconds, but thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so if you can do that in 10 seconds.
Yeah, just 10 seconds. It's about the consultation that he spoke about.
You disagree with that?
No, I mean, Beatrice, you cannot pray before a bill is sent to Parliament.
But you can't consult
All right.
Okay.
No, we don't say consult on the
Okay, we've run out of time. Thank you very much to the Honourable George Odro, former MP for New Edubiase and former Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Mr. Jerome K. Sam, Head of Public Affairs, Cocoa Board. Thank you as well for joining us. And also to you as well, Mr. Obed Owusu Adai, Convener, Ghana Civil Society, Cocoa Platform, GCCP. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us in studio. Let me remind you that Agenda is brought to you by the Bank of Africa. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Once again, my name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program tonight. Do join us again next week.